Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. I apologize for the quality of the video. I have a camera set up on a bigger screen, but for some reason, it's not working for me. So I'm doing this directly to my laptop, so I'll try to figure this out in the future. I just want to take a couple minutes and talk to you about what I think it was covered in chapter two, maybe chapter three, but I think chapter two. And I think what you're going to notice with kind of generally with psychology is, when we learn about psychology, it's it's not necessarily kind of this linear understanding of all these concepts. It's not necessarily like learning math. You learn algebra one, and algebra two, algebra three, and you got to learn algebra one before algebra two, before algebra three, before algebra four. Things kind of circle around. So things you might read in, for example, cognitive psychology, you've already come across in intro to psych, abnormal psych, but they're being reinforced because of their importance. And that can happen even within, a specific area of psychology. And what we've noticed already is that importance within cognitive psychology. So I wanted to just take a few minutes and talk to you about the neuron. I don't think there's a class I've ever taken in psychology that hasn't touched on the importance of the neuron. You know, well, along with the cell, it's the building block of who we are. Basically the function of the neuron is really to just transmit what we call electrical signals within the brain, from one area of the brain to another. That's the importance of the neuron. The greatest concentration of these neurons, and there's millions and millions of neurons in the human brain, are located within the brain. And those neurons are really associated with cognition, okay? How we think about things, how we perceive things, how we attend to things, how we remember, and so forth. The structure of the neuron is, there's basically four parts to the neuron. And there's diagrams, hundreds of diagrams all over the internet. There's a diagram in your book. But basically what we start with is that cell body, or what technically is known as the soma. Then you can see dendrites, which are these kind of branch-like structures. Those structures are actually we receive information from other neurons. Okay, so those dendrites are like the branch-like structures that receive information from other neurons. The axon is that third part of the neuron, the third structure of the neuron. And these are very long, thin-like tubes. You can think of them as thin-like tubes that extend out from the cell body or the soma. And these are the things that actually transmit what we call electrical chemicals, and I'll get to that in a little bit, or electrical signals within our brain. This is happening within milliseconds, all the time, 24 hours a day. Some of those axons you'll find are covered with what we call myelin sheaths. Okay, and this is kind of think of it as maybe an insulation around that axon. It's kind of a covering. But we'll find that myelin sheath only wrapped around the longer axons. And basically, what that myelin sheath does is there's two functions. It protects the axon, the longer axons, but it also, because they're so long, it helps speed up the transmission of those chemicals, okay, or of the electrical information from one neuron to the next. Okay, so the structure of the neuron, again, basically the cell body, you have the dendrite, you have the axon, and then you have that myelin sheath. Okay, it's pretty simple. The synapse is that space that is created between one neuron and the dendrite of another neuron. Okay, and that's where you see that transmission of those electrical signals, or what we call neurotransmitters. Okay, the signal transmission of a neurotransmitter occurs within the synapse. Okay, so literally what happens is that those neurotransmitters, and for example, I'll get to this in a minute, those neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, or ACH actually transmit through, they cross over into that gap, that synaptic gap, and go from one neuron to the dendrite of another neuron. Okay, that's theoretically, that's what we want to happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen. There's too many neurons being fired over across the synapse. There's not enough neurons, or not enough neurotransmitters, I'm sorry. The importance of a neurotransmitter is because they impact all of our psychological functioning, and they impact all of our cognitive functioning. Okay, so what you're reading about right now, for example, in terms of the Stroop word test, the color word test, our attention, what we attend to, what we don't attend to. We can't attend to everything that goes on in the environment. So I'm speaking to you now. I know my cat is in this room somewhere. He's whirling around inside books and all that kind of stuff. So, I can kind of attend to both things so he doesn't spill my water, but I'm attending to talking to you guys. I can't attend to anything else, okay? We can only process so much information. And that's the importance of those neurotransmitters. They impact our psychological and they impact our cognitive functioning, how we process, how we attend, how we perceive information in the environment. Two very, very important neurotransmitters are dopamine and serotonin. Okay, and these have been linked for years and years to various mental illnesses. If you see a decrease, or if we read about a decrease in, for example, dopamine, what we'll see what we'll see behaviorally is an individual who has low energy. They'll appear to have an inability to focus, inability to concentrate. They've had a hard time just generally feeling happy. They also have kind of a hard time, just an inability to connect with friends and family. For another example, serotonin, a decrease in those serotonin levels. Anxiousness, kind of feeling depressed, no joy in life. Increased cravings for sugar or unhealthy foods. And also just generally a feeling of being overwhelmed for absolutely no reason. Okay, when I talk about a decrease in neurotransmitters, a decrease in dopamine, a decrease in serotonin, I'm talking about a lack of that neurotransmitter going across from one axon to the dendrite of another axon, okay? It can't cross over that synaptic cleft or that synaptic gap. Or it's being blocked by the receiving neuron, and it's being shot back. By example, if a client comes in and they go to see a psychiatrist, for example, what the psychiatrist will do is they'll look for some of these symptoms: low energy, inability to concentrate, inability to focus. Person has a hard time connecting with friends, not feeling happy, kind of sad, just blue all day. That may indicate to the psychiatrist that, well, okay, this person has a decrease in their dopamine, meaning not enough dopamine in their system. It's not working correctly within their brain. So what the doctor will do will prescribe a medication that will try to enhance the dopamine levels in their brain. Okay, and also increase their attention, increase their ability to attend to information, perceive information in the environment. So again, my intention of giving you this kind of micro lecture is, again, understanding the importance of the structure and basically the function of that neuron and how it kind of links in with we're learning about even within the script color word test ability to attend. Sometimes those neurotransmitters can get kind of messed up in a person's ability to attend to things and understand things and perceive things. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on some of that when you get the chance. Hopefully, as a side note, hopefully Blackboard will be up and running consistently. Again, I know the school they do everything they can when things like what's happened over the past week occur. Again, like I said in one of my announcements, technology will be technology. It happens to everybody. But again, if you guys have any problems, with Blackboard going down and feeling completely kind of messes up your schedule, let me know. Okay, we'll work on that. We can figure something out. But also, great job this past week. I will look at Unit 2 assignments. Well, probably today. I will get to those today and get your grades back. But everybody's doing a fantastic job. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks, guys.